what happens is in 1866, as a result of Johnson's stupidity and intransigence, Congress adopts its own Reconstruction program, and then in 67. But on the issues we've been talking about, they passed two measures which are critical measures in American history. One is the Civil Rights Act of 1866. This is the birth of civil rights. You want to know where civil rights comes from? 1866. The Civil Rights Act, the first law in American history detailing the rights that all American citizens ought to enjoy, regardless of race. It establishes in federal law for the first time this principle of equality before the law for all Americans. It lists the basic rights: the right to own property, the right to testify in court, the right to sign a contract, the right not to have one set of laws for white people and one set of laws for black people. It doesn't mention the right to vote. That's a political right, not a civil right. But it basically says the states can no longer discriminate in these basic legal rights against black people. An astounding change in American law from just a few years earlier. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 is still on the books. It's a melancholy reflection that in some ways the Civil Rights Act of 1866 is a stronger law than the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is supposed to be the high point of the civil rights movement. In other words, it took the nation 100 years to get back to the point we had reached in 1866. So don't tell me that the history of the United States is just progress all the time. There's a lot of retrogression, too. It took us a century to get back to where we started from in terms of the rights of African American people. But of course, a law of Congress can be repealed. So Congress passes the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. The 13th had abolished slavery, to put this basic principle into the Constitution. The 14th Amendment, the most important change in the Constitution since the Bill of Rights. And the first clause of that establishes the basic principles I've been talking about. First of all, it says any person born in the United States is a citizen. That's now in the Constitution, 14th Amendment. Second of all, no state can deprive any of these citizens of life or liberty or the due process or the equal protection of the laws. Equal protection of law, equality. This introduces the concept of equality into the Constitution, where it had not existed. The word equality doesn't exist in the original Constitution. You went to court before the Civil War and said, you know, my equal rights are being violated, they'd chuck you right out. You don't have any equal rights. Get out of here. The 14th Amendment makes the Constitution what it has been in the 20th century and now, a document to which aggrieved groups can appeal if they feel they are being deprived of equality. And that principle of equal protection of the law has been expanded to include everybody, not just the former slaves and their descendants. So this is a fundamental change. It puts in the Constitution this abolitionist vision of a nation of equal citizens, irregardless of race. A fundamental change in the whole essence of what it is to be an American and what the American nation is. And that comes right out of the Civil War.